Welcome to Big Blend Radio, where we celebrate variety and how it adds spice to quality of life. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our third show in our Big Blend Radio 18th anniversary series. Our guests today are all related to travel. We have a couple of awesome messages from our travel friends. We've got Steve and Karen Wilson from the Lion and Rose Bed and Breakfast in Asheville, North Carolina. In fact, their show airs today. They have a podcast with us called Adventures in Asheville that airs every first Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Another message is from travel writer and author Linda Ballou, who you're going to hear from first on this episode. And she has a travel podcast with us that she talks about. Thank you, Linda. You're so sweet. She does an amazing podcast talking about her adventures around the world and also talks about her novels and travel guides every third Wednesday at high noon Pacific time. The interviews today are Tiffany Bertram. Her and her husband Bob own and run Tiffany's Bed and Breakfast just outside Hot Springs in Arkansas. It is a wonderful destination that Nancy and I love to return to every year. If you love nature and you love to go out into national parks, state parks, bird watching, get into history from everything from the mob to baseball, this is a destination for you. We also chat with Lisa Evans, who is a travel writer and an author of 100 Things to Do in Coastal Mississippi Before You Die. Her and I had a very fun conversation about where we were when we were 18 years old. Were we up to shenanigans? And then did you think, Lisa, that you'd become a travel writer? We talk about all that on today's podcast, as well as music. Where were you when you were 18 and what were you listening to? So check the episode notes. I've put a link in there for a music playlist of all of our guests on all four shows. We started off saying we're going to do 3, now it's 4, talking about where they were and what music they were listening to. So all of that is there. Please feel free to comment in the comments and we will add your music to the playlist as well. There's also a link to the playlist for all 4 shows, the 4th one being tomorrow. Thank you so much, everyone. Here it is, Linda Ballou, and then we're off to chat with Tiffany and then Stephen, Karen, and Lisa Evans. Take care. Thanks for being part of our journey.
I'm a travel writer, but Lisa and Nancy are the ones that are doing the traveling. They go all over through rain, sleet, snow, hurricanes, flooding. Nothing stops them from getting the show, and God love them for that. I am so grateful for their energy and, ability to deal with all the technology for me. Lisa suggested that I do a podcast when my vision failed and I just simply couldn't do the things that I was doing in terms of my writing. So it is a great and very helpful thing for me to maintain my visibility and share the backstories of my stories that are in my books. So it's just been a lot of fun, and the audio medium allows me to rest my eyes. I just had eye surgery, and I'm hoping in 2025 I'll be able to get back to writing. But in the meantime, I enjoy doing my podcast with Lisa, and it is just nice for me to relax and let her do all the work, honestly, and deal with all of the changes in technology, which I do not have the patience, the expertise, or the desire to deal with all of that. And Lisa takes care of it. So I really, really, really appreciate the fact that she works as hard as she does. Now, 18 years ago, I was globe-trotting and collecting my adventures, and at this juncture, I have 3 travel collections, and it's just fun for me to pick out a story and relive my adventure, revisit it. It's so much fun. And so, Lisa's providing me a medium to stay connected and stay visible while I'm healing from my eye surgery. And I am almost there, and I hope to thrive in 25 and get back on the Freedom Trail. So, Happy New Year.
Hey everyone, as you know, 2025 is Nancy and I's, 28-year anniversary of publishing under Big Blend. And that's going from our old print days in San Diego back in 1997 till now, doing all kinds of digital Big Blend magazines. Plus, we are celebrating on the show now 18 years of podcasting under Big Blend Radio. And we're inviting all kinds of great guests to be back on the show, our friends, and talk a little bit about what it was like to be 18. And right now we've got Tiffany. Tiffany, her husband, Bob Bertram, own and run Tiffany's Bed and Breakfast in the Hot Springs area of Arkansas. It's a beautiful destination. Their property is pretty big, lots of hiking trails and nature. And the inn is just one of those places you want to go and recharge and sit on the patio and watch the hummingbirds and the owls and the fireflies at night. And, yeah, it's pretty magical, right, Nancy? We had a good time there. Every time we go every year.
It's great fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. So welcome back, Tiffany. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Happy anniversary.
Well, apparently it's happy anniversary to you too, but thank you.
It is
18 years. So we've got two 18s in our, as we're 18 in podcasting and you're 18 in innkeeping, right?
Yeah. And apparently we all started when we were 10 years old, right?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Exactly. Because that would make us 28 for our publishing.
Right.
So that's perfect. That was perfect. I like that. So, the inn itself, I mean, it's kind of cool to think about turning 18, right? I remember wanting to turn 18 and of course wanting to be 21. But,
we're almost an adult, I guess.
Well, I think you could get away with anything in Hot Springs, right? Because you used to have the mob hang out and all kinds of shenanigans.
Right.
Yeah.
Back in the old days, age didn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't matter. You can, and I think Arkansas had its run of moonshiners, right? Out in the backwoods.
Oh, definitely. We have a legitimate one now in downtown Hot Springs.
Cool.
Do you? Oh,
yeah.
Do tell.
Crystal Ridge Moonshine.
Well, we know what we need to do when we come back.
There you go.
Very cool. Moonshine. Nancy, ready for moonshine?
Oh yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah, and they have a tasting room as well, so you can try out all their different flavors. It's really a fun place.
Now, do you go to the Superior Brewing at the same time? It's the moonshiners.
You can. Yep. Hit one or the other first, and then go to the other.
Oh, yeah. Now, Superior Brewing, we always talk about them because it's a brewery using the thermal waters of Hot Springs, and it's inside a bathhouse. So you could drink your beer in a bath. No, I'm just kidding. That would be cool.
And the only one you can drink in a national park too.
That's right. It's the only brewery in a national park. So that is cool. And that's what makes Hot Springs so unique too. The whole city of Hot Springs is pretty much a national park, right? Or is it the downtown?
Part of it is, yep.
Yeah, part of it. Okay, that's cool. And you're just on the outside, but not far at all.
Not at all, no.
But you feel far away because you're out in the country and you've got forests and birds and bald eagles around the corner, the lake, and and diamonds. You've got diamonds up the street.
Diamonds down the road from us.
18-carat diamond.
There you go.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
I like the way you think.
I think you need to go there and start digging. And I know you have a package for your guests to go and do the digging for diamonds. Has any of your guests ever found the diamonds in the state park?
We are still waiting on a guest to find a diamond. And when they do, they'll get a free night stay with us.
That is cool. Nancy,
it is.
I think we need to go digging. Let's go dig for diamonds. I'm liking this.
Come on down.
So 18 years.
Yeah, and we'll even give you the...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh. I said, we'll even give you the tools. We've got buckets and shovels and sifters and everything you need to find the diamond. We're just waiting on somebody to find it.
You're saying buckets, though, because you're wanting more than one diamond?
Right.
She wants 18 of them this year. This is important.
Hey, if you can't find an 18 carat, find 18 1 carat.
18 diamonds. I know. She ain't picky. So what was it like when you first bought the inn? It wasn't an inn, right? At the beginning. Was this the first time it was a bed and breakfast?
Technically, they had a sign out front, but that's really all they had done to it. They didn't really host guests or anything. It was kind of a great idea, but they hadn't really put it to work yet. So we changed the name, advertised, got a website, all that fun stuff, and started welcoming guests.
Yeah, you got to market. You got to market.
You got to let people know you're there.
We've got to market.
And when you opened, let people know a little bit about, because your background is in hospitality, right? So it wasn't like a brand new thing to do a bed and breakfast. Right. It was right up your alley.
Right. I had been managing and working in hotels for 20 years, so. Something I had always wanted to do somewhere down the road, but this opportunity kind of fell in our laps, and here we are 18 years later, still doing it.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And it's relaxed and beautiful, and you guys make some good brownies and great breakfasts, and it's just how many people check in and then just kind of like don't go off and do their big to-do list? They just kind of chill out and like decompress.
Quite a few.
Yeah. That's how we are.
Some of them never leave the property. They're just like, okay, we want to just, that's why we're here, is for people to relax, and some actually take advantage of that, read a book out on the front porch, or sit out at the fireplace, or walk around the property.
The gardens, Bob's gardens. Now, did Bob pretty much put a lot of those gardens in?
Yeah, there was a little bit here, but he's, of course, added his own flair to it all. We've tried to put in a lot more native plants.
Cool.
Just trying to keep it more natural.
Mm-hmm. And you guys are a certified backyard wildlife habitat through the National Wildlife Federation. And you can tell, the first night we were there, we always talk about how those, owls, the barred owl parents were teaching their little owlets to hunt at the fireflies. That was magic. That was
amazing.
That's so cool.
And you have deer on the property, and, it's
wild turkeys and you name it.
They're wild. Yeah, Bob and Tiffany are wild. They're wild. They're wild. So when you were 18, where were you in the world, like physically?
Oh my gosh. I was in western Kansas on a farm.
So being out in the backwoods, was that more prairie?
Yeah, there were no woods in western Kansas, Lisa.
Okay. Just gotta ask.
The cool thing about it was you could see the sunrise and turn around and see the sunset from the same place. No trees to block your way, no hills.
Just a little flat,
Just farmland for miles and miles and miles.
What were you guys farming anything in specific, or is that just like living on a farmhouse kind of thing?
Mainly wheat, and my dad raised hogs and cattle also.
Oh, wow. Hey, there you go.
And at 18, I was making plans to get as far away from there as possible.
I think we were all kind of like that. It's like none of us wanted
so.
It's like, that's a normal thing. And then where did you go? Like, where was your first, like, that's it, I'm out? Where did you go?
Well, my first out was to go to college in the big city of Wichita, Kansas, which was 200,000 people. So that was like huge, going from a town of about 1,500. Wow. And I spent 2 years there, and then I transferred out to Las Vegas to UNLV and graduated from there with a hotel degree.
Oh, see, look at this hotel degree. All right, so you went to Vegas. That's a little bit
trend
of
here.
That's a stretch, man. So this has really been your
to
passion.
Really big city.
Yeah, that's a big city with all kinds of shenanigans going on. But like,
right.
What was it that led you to the world of hospitality? Like, what was it that you said, I want to do this?
I love traveling, and that I thought that was just a way to kind of mesh the two together. To if I wasn't traveling, I'd be helping travelers, I guess.
Yeah, and it's changed so much over the years. You know, the way people
definitely.
check in now. Nowadays, people check in without even seeing anybody in hotels.
Yeah, we don't do that.
No. Bed and breakfasts are different.
You know, that's a really weird feeling when you check yourself in.
Am I in the right place?
Yeah, and it's like, is there anybody here? You know,
exactly.
Yeah. Did I get the right person's room? You know,
right. Is somebody else going to come in?
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's not the most welcoming thing in the world.
Definitely not.
No, it's funny because there was a comedian. Him and his wife are both comedians, and he was doing this tour. And he was there like a night before her or something, and she was able to check into the room without anyone, and she was like, "I'm going to take a nap," you know, before the show that night, and he was doing sound checks or something. She goes in, she's like, dang, man, what a slob. He's not a slob at home. And his clothes were everywhere. And she's like, did he buy new pants? And she was going to take a shower and everything. But then she's like, nah, I'm just going to go to bed. She gets in bed. She's like, God, he didn't even let room service in to make his bed. She gets in bed. And then she just feels this is weird. And then she looks around and it dawns on her. She had managed to get into somebody else's room.
Oh, no.
Dude.
At least they weren't there.
I know, but it's kind of weird to be in some other guy's bed. Like you don't even know him. Ew, like a ew factor, right? So she bails out. And then finds, and had to get a person. So maybe this, you know, that's kind of like having one of those self-driving cars, you know?
Right.
Have you seen those? It's weird.
I've freaky. Not. I bet.
We saw them recently in Phoenix in a Walmart parking lot, just driving around. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they had to go around this one person and I'm just waiting for an accident. Nothing bad happened, but it was the weirdest feeling. Like, I think they were in a weird way safer. Like they were better than the humans in the parking lot. But if you're going to have a crash, a parking lot is it. But you know. Yeah. And by the way, you get free parking at Tiffany's.
Yes, that's right. And those are things we never thought of 18 years ago, did we?
No. But I thought we'd be on
and
Star Trek.
Especially not when we were 18 years old.
No, 18. Gosh, when is 18? Yeah, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have the internet for humans. We had computers, those big things that were.
What's his name? That actor guy. The one who played on. Oh God! He used to say, "Kit, I need you," and the car would just come up.
Knight Rider.
Oh yeah, Knight Rider. Yeah.
So
we thought that was crazy.
I remember being 18 and watching Knight Rider and MacGyver.
Right.
And, I think they were the A-Team, but that was when I was younger. They were out, but yeah, we haven't done that. But what about music for you, Tiffany? Because I know you're also a musician. You know, you do music, sing as well, right? Sing. And
I do, yes.
Wind instruments. So she's got pipes. That's it. She's got pipes. Yeah, but when you were 18, what were you listening to on the radio that we can put on our we're 18 years old music playlist?
Okay, so I think at 18 I had kind of moved over. Rock was kind of changing at that point, and I didn't like where it was going, so I had kind of ventured into country. So I was a little mixed. I probably I'm thinking Bon Jovi, Poison, and then country, Sawyer Brown, Lee Greenwood, Kenny Rogers. Those were kind of some of my... I'm going back to cassette tapes and imagining who I had the most of at that point.
Yeah. Now, who did you say? Was it somebody, Lee? Who you had? Sawyer Brown, Kenny Rogers, and who was Lee Greenwood?
Lee Greenwood.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know who that is.
He's the guy that sang God Bless the USA. You know him.
Oh, okay. I better know that one, huh?
Yeah. You've heard that one. I know you have.
Well, Bon Jovi is interesting because some of their music did kind of go country-ish in a weird, like, just
I think later on they kind of tried to.
Yeah,
and
a little bit.
Bret Michaels, he tried to do a country album.
Yeah,
somewhere
and
down the road.
Every rose has
too.
its thorn. He's done more than that, right? He's done more songs than that, but I think that's his big famous one. Everyone always thinks about. Nancy loves that song. She likes Bret Michaels, don't you?
I do too.
Nancy.
He's okay.
Hey, Nancy, I do too.
Yeah, and we both know how much you love Bob Dylan and Neil Young's voices.
I definitely was not listening to the 15 years old. Or now. They're good songwriters.
So are you going to do anything special for being 18?
Oh gosh, we hadn't even talked about it yet.
You should.
We'll have to work on that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think you have to do 18, something special. We have to have an 18 party.
Definitely.
18 years old birthday party.
Maybe we'll do that when you guys are here this summer.
You have to dress up like you're 18 again.
Right.
Somehow I don't think I fit into anything from then. I don't fit. I mean, maybe a thigh will fit in.
All those little tiny mini skirts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. When I was 18, it was the leg warmers and big hair and...
Oh, yeah. Gotta have the big hair. The hairspray. Yeah, gotta have the hairspray.
I always had the poofy thing at the top of my forehead, like the big poofy, comb over thing. Like, I think I was trying to be Elvis. I don't know what, but it was like a big poofy thing on the top of my head. Like, what was that? What was that? I mean,
a lot of, what are they, rat your hair?
No, I just kind of did this
combing.
Yeah, I look like,
combing,
what's her name? Patsy from Absolutely Fabulous. If anyone's watched that British movies and series, Absolutely Fabulous. It is funny. And Nancy is Edwina and I am Patsy, and I had the hair for it. And back in the day when I was 18, I was a naughty little smoking child and never got caught.
Oh, yeah, right.
And so I could do Patsy 100%. Like the accent, the look, the whole thing. And I could also fall out of a car drunk if I had to. No, I'm kidding. But she did that. That's what she did. So I can act like that, I said.
Oh, okay. Like you were acting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We were all behaving. No, Nancy,
One time I caught her smoking and she's got a cigarette in her fingers.
This is in my bedroom. Bedroom.
So I kept her smoking. So she puts her hand behind her back and says, "I'm not smoking." I'm like, yeah, that's convincing.
All the smoke's coming up behind my head.
What's the smoke coming up behind you?
Yeah. And I used to tell her that I put an ashtray in my room for my friends.
Me.
Yeah. I have an ashtray in my room for my friends. It's my friends smoking, not me. It didn't work.
Our friends were always such bad influences.
Yeah. Did you ever do anything naughty when you were like that age group?
No.
Tiffany
I was a good kid.
Really?
Of course not.
Nancy used to skip out and go to the Sunset Strip.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my brother and I used to sneak out my bedroom window and walk about a mile to Sunset Strip and walk up and down the strip. It was a hoot.
I bet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's all sorts
out in western Kansas, we didn't have much to get in trouble, any place to get in trouble. So,
but you went to Vegas.
Strip it was so much fun because you could look in all the restaurant windows and see movie stars, and
oh wow,
it was
I bet.
cool. That was cool.
Well,
sounds
in
like
Vegas, I mean, going to college in Vegas is pretty dangerous.
Yeah,
I would
Yeah, it
think.
was pretty.
Yeah, that's kind of.
The hotel I worked at, they were building the Mirage Hotel at the time, which now they're trying to tear down part of it. But
wow,
they were building Siegfried and Roy's new theater when they built the Mirage, and so most of their crew stayed at our hotel. And we all got invited to Siegfried and Roy's New Year's Eve party.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That was something I'll never forget.
I bet. How fun is that?
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
So did you go?
That's
like
probably the most. Oh, yeah, we all went. That's probably the most Vegas thing I ever did.
Wow.
Wow. And so what was
That's
it
a good
like?
one.
I mean, did you see famous people, tigers? Like what was going on?
No, not other than them, but yeah, just people dressed up in bizarre costumes, and
yeah,
I think maybe there was somebody walking around with like a boa constrictor on their shoulders.
Yeah.
Things a girl from Western Kansas just had never seen before.
The two best places for seeing weird stuff is Venice Beach and Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah. And Walmart parking lots.
I would agree.
Oh.
And
I'm just saying.
Walmart's
I mean,
two opposite extremes, but yes.
None of that. Well, you're turning 18, but you do have normal packages up on your site. So people go to Tiffany's.
Oh, we have all kinds of packages.
Yeah, go celebrate. Go digging for diamonds, and if so, don't forget to give them to Tiffany. Just kidding.
That's right.
But yeah, you've got packages, and Valentine's Day's come. I know that books up pretty fast for you. Valentine's Day.
Definitely.
Huh?
We do have a romance package, a couples massage packages. By then we'll have a package that includes tickets to Garvin Woodland Gardens, which is beautiful any time of year.
Oh, we have
right
not
now.
Done
We've
that
got
yet.
No, you haven't. Right now we've got a snuggle in package where you get 2 of our keepsake coffee mugs and some of our homemade hot chocolate mix and a fluffy blanket so you can snuggle in and enjoy the night without having to go out, brave the cold. Snuggle, Nancy. Snuggle in.
Well, hey, what about, those Snugglies? Remember Snugglies? Those one size fits all Snugglies?
Yeah. The blanket pajamas.
Yeah.
Flash everything.
Yeah, it's got socks, it's got arms, it's the Snuggly. and if there's an emergency, you're going to have to hop around and fall down.
Right.
And say, I've fallen, I can't get up. I'm in my Snuggly. But that's cool that you got that, like a winter package for that. That's cool. And
yeah.
So romance package, the garden package, that's going to be cool. We have to go to botanical gardens out there. We have not done that because Arkansas, the one thing I love about your area is you go hiking and you can see magnolias bloom in the wild. And for a lot of us, you didn't see that kind of thing. You'd see magnolia trees downtown in the city, like part of the landscaping, but to see them in the wild too is just gorgeous. I mean, the South has amazing gardens and natural gardens too. So, and the birds to go with it. So that is awesome. But we can't wait to come back. We always have to come by and see you both and Buddy and the cats.
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah. We love that. And always have a good time and always leave having a good sweet tooth fill. It's fun. Well, happy 18 to you.
You too. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Tiffany's Bed and Breakfast.com. It's linked is in the episode notes. Plus, there's a link there for some of Tiffany's breakfast recipes. So check that out. Thanks, Tiffany.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That was cool.
Hey, this is Steve and Karen from the Lion the Rose Bed and Breakfast here in Asheville. We just wanted to wish Lisa and Nancy a happy 18th anniversary with Big Blend Radio and Big Blend magazines.
Congratulations, Lisa and Nancy. 18 years of success and hopefully many, many more. We are lucky to have had you both as our podcast hosts for our Adventures in Asheville podcast, and hopefully we continue that for several more years.
Yeah, so Happy New Year to you guys. We're looking forward to a better year than last year. I know we had a bunch of stuff going on in the year, but we managed to get through it, and hopefully Asheville has managed to get through it as well. Everything's starting to look good, and we're excited to move forward.
We're looking forward to definitely doing more packages and working with more partners to offer elevated experiences for our guests, and looking forward to kind of the rebirth of Asheville. Things are looking good and looking up.
So Happy New Year to you guys. We hope to see you again soon. I know you guys, last time we heard you were back on the West Coast, but I think you're working away this way. So we'll look forward to seeing you again. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Cheers.
So everyone, thank you for being here. You know, we are celebrating 28 years of Big Blend magazines, which started out of San Diego as a print publication just covering the Northeast San Diego County, then turned into Southwest Blend with a website, all pre-Google, right? And then we decided to start podcasting, and that was 18 years ago. So we're feeling like we're young and happy. We're 18 years old, and that's what we're celebrating all day today. So thank you for being here. And we have one of our favorite travel writers and authors on the show today, Lisa Evans. She is the author of 100 Things to Do in Coastal Mississippi Before You Die. We're 18, we can't die. And she's also, I just found out, a travel advisor. How cool is that? So anyway, go to her website, writerlisa.com, and she's on a lot of our shows all the time. So we had to have her on our anniversary to celebrate and also to dig into her past and find out what she was up to when she was 18. We've been getting some interesting stories on all these conversations. So Lisa, don't disappoint us. How are you? Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm not doing bad, and I hope I don't disappoint you. I mean, I look back after we decided to do this and I'm thinking, wow, 18, that was a long time ago.
Well, that's how Nancy and I feel. But, you know, that's what I was like, we're 18. We should celebrate being 18 because it feels good. And, you know, when we're 18, we feel like we know everything too, you know,
Yeah,
and yet
no
we're
kidding.
striving, you know, the next big thing was, oh, I want to turn 21. Can we just skip through 19 and 20 and just get to 21? 18 was a big deal. And I think we were legal to drink in South Africa, legal to smoke when you were 16, and that's what was going on. Nancy was being a brat. She was sneaking out all the time because she grew up right outside the Sunset Strip in Los Angeles. So her and her brother would sneak out windows and go watch movie stars and all that kind of stuff, and had a good time doing that. But we all had our shenanigans. So that's what I want to know. Were you up to, what kind of shenanigans were you up to? Or, you know, you were just on our show, Life Lessons from Family. So
Yeah.
were you that well behaved?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, my 18 year was probably a little bit different than a lot of people back then. Mainly because I was a very young mother. So I had a baby when I was 8. You know, I had a close to 2-year-old baby when I was 18. But the cool part about that was, and it really was cool because obviously, I mean, now it seems to be more commonplace or whatever you want to call it. But back then in a small town in upstate New York, it was not commonplace. So, I had decisions to make, whatever. And so my daughter and I, but I have to say, we were accepted in school. All of my classmates were kind of like all cool with her. They would buy her gifts and stuff like that. So it was really a fun, and of course I was working, I was going to school, I had a baby. My parents were awesome. And of course I still lived at home, but, so 18 was, by the time I'm 18, you missed a little bit of it, but now you want to, experiment. So I graduated the year I turned 18. And you mentioned the drinking. The funny part, and I don't know, I know, here in the United States, I got caught because the drinking age was 18. And then they went to 19, and then they went to 21. So I got caught between the 18 and 19-year-old, so I could drink legally for I don't know, it was like 9 months, I guess. And then it was illegal for like 3, and then I could drink legally again. So it was interesting.
That's wild.
You'd go, yeah, it was fun. And of course, my favorite hangout, with my best friend. And it was funny. You were able to go there, after dinner or a movie or whatever, and you could have a drink. And then it was July 1st. I want to say it was July 1st, 1983, that the law was going to change. So they adjusted the law in 82, and then it was going to change in 83. So from my birthday's in August. So from August to July 1st, I was legal. Then from July to August, I wasn't. It was quite
wild.
Interesting. Yeah, it was really wild.
Yeah, South Africa, we all, it's a drinking country. It really is. You got British in
the
there,
US.
Yeah, and South Africa really, I think now we're a little different. There's, people are drinking mocktails in the younger generations, not like as naughty as we all were, Or they're
Yes,
now
the
we've got
80s,
a lot of the 80s were naughty,
They were.
They were.
But they were
early
fun.
90s, they were, and because South Africa. Everybody had table wine with their family. It was, I was 16, you could have wine. It wasn't a big deal. And, we could go out. And if there was an adult present, you were okay. It wasn't a big, and then 18, we were legal. So then we really thought we were, the stuff. And Nancy and I came to the States when I was 19. And I remember we lived in the Channel. Well, not even lived. We were there for about a month and a half, 2 months. We didn't know we were coming here even when we left South Africa. We just had to go, And we were flying here we ended up in London. So we left London to Florida, and we flew. Oh, no, sorry, New Jersey. That's the only time we've crossed over to New Jersey once, but anyway, we got to New Jersey and flew to Orlando. And for my uncle to come pick us up in Florida. And on the plane, Nancy and I get separated. We barely got to our plane. It was one of those things where you have to run across the airport and hope you catch your plane. We got on the plane, barely made it, got split up, which, we were like, what? So she's down the aisle. I'm next to this woman who's got a screaming little baby. And this woman was getting mad at the kid and kind of like, shaking the kid. And I'm like, dude, that's not how you talk to a kid. Well, anyway, she was a little younger mother too, actually. But I think everybody was just crabby and tired. And I was certainly done. I mean, we'd already just flown over from England. And so the flight attendant, that's the right word, right? Like stewardess is.
Yeah, now it is. It used to be stewardess, but.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say cockpit anymore, but I just said it for fun. Come on, man. Anyway, so the lady comes up and I said, oh, I need a glass of wine. Like both of us, first thing, we need a glass of wine. And she goes, well, can I have your ID? I said, oh, I don't have an American ID. I have my passport, but I'll let you know. I'm 19, so I'm at least a year over. And this woman turned around and said, how dare you try to drink on the plane when it's 21? I'm like, what do you mean it's 21? And then Nancy has a glass of wine and she's going, ha ha, ha ha, waving her wine at me. The lady next door to me says, oh, if you had told me, I would have bought you wine. And I'm looking at her with her baby that's freaking out. Was it like maybe a 1-year-old, 2-year-old? And I'm looking at her going, No. And this stewardess attendant was like, I was trying to break the law. But what really bugged me, I looked at Nancy, I said, you didn't tell me it was 21. Like, what is this? And so I had 2 years of that.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean I didn't have my wine. I did.
Oh, of course. But it was one of those things because obviously, as a young mother, I couldn't, like if my friends called up and said, hey, let's do this. I was like, well, no, because I had to, obviously have childcare or make sure my daughter was with her dad or whatever.
Wow,
So that was a little bit different for me from other 18-year-olds is that I couldn't at a drop of a hat decide to, hey, I want to go out and go here, there, or other places. So that was a little bit different. And of course, as I said, small town upstate New York, I was, and I was the antithesis of what they would, again, old stereotypes because I was a straight A student. I was top of my class and, oh my God, I was a young mother
the naughty,
too. And
here she is like, and then she does this. Yeah. You talk of the town, Lisa.
But the part that I really remember is again when I graduated at the top of my class because I remember after having my daughter, there was this one, well, not just one, there was a couple people on the school board who was like, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'll prove y'all wrong. And I did. And that was like one of the best things because I was able to, I had my daughter. She was well cared for. I graduated at the top of my class. I got a scholarship to go to college. So it was kind of like there. See, it was one of those type of things.
Don't ever put you on like trial. Like don't ever, like I will do this. So cause you seem to be very, number one, you're going to do what you say you're going to do. You always are. You're always 5. I was like, it's 5 minutes too. Lisa's going to be on for the recording. I better get there. I swear to God, you're right there. I'm like, man, can't be late with Lisa. But you have like principles and at the same time, don't say that you can't do something. I feel like that would become your next project if someone tells you you can't do something.
It is. It was one of those things that, you said I can't, well, watch this kind of thing. So, or as the new memes nowadays say, here, hold my beer. So it was just one of those things. And we still, like I said, I was still able to have a lot of fun. I mean, and again, we used to have what we called power line parties. So again, I lived out in the country in upstate New York and it was a small town, but we used to have the big, the big tall power lines that would go through people's fields and stuff. Well, that became kind of like the gathering place of kids, if you will. Back then I'm sure, again, we've already talked about being naughty, but you find the person that's 18 or 19 to buy you, if you're underage, if you haven't hit that number yet, you find the ones that'll buy you wine and a keg or whatever. And then you take it and you party out in the fields and stuff. So we used to have what we called power line parties. And the best thing about that is you read all this stuff nowadays. We did, we were quote unquote naughty, but nobody ever got stupid. There was always somebody there.
There wasn't date raping. None of that. No. Like we didn't have drugs and drinks. No. We didn't have, while I was in South Africa, it was a little bit, we had weed everywhere, but like half my friends were anti-weed and half weren't. So I came out balanced and we didn't have I had one boyfriend who was on drugs, but, he was messed up, but I didn't even know. It was so, like you drank your parent, like I never got away with anything because the parents were all friends. And
right. Everybody knew.
Watched over everyone. It was a village.
Right. And even the kid, even like your friends that would go to, you might not have been best friends with so-and-so, but if you were at a party and they were there too, there was none of the nonsense that goes on. And everybody, all your friends looked at, like if there was one of our friends that got a little bit, I don't know, more overindulged than they should have.
Yeah, you take care of them.
You always, you never let anybody get in a car with, but back, and again, and not that this is a good thing, but back then, DUIs weren't, I mean, the town cops used to follow people home to make sure they got there. Now forget it. You'd never get that.
No, you're getting pulled over and you're part of the statistics.
It
Yeah,
was
which
just
we
part,
don't
it
want
was
people drinking and driving, as I say,
correct.
that's a no-no, and people die over that stuff. But the cops
Absolutely.
will, yeah, but there was something about also knowing, I, I,
Somebody would
I,
take care of you.
you
Somebody
had
would
a
help.
good network. Yeah, there was a
Yes.
network where your word was your word. Like friends went out. I'd see one friend get, messed up. I would be like, no guys talking to her. Yeah, back off.
Right.
And, there was, oh my gosh, we got ourselves in trouble, but we got ourselves out of it together and nothing serious, but we had our moments, nothing that my friends want their kids to know about though. Like
Well, oh, yeah.
every
Yeah.
time I
Well, it's
talk to them, they're
funny
like, don't say this in front of so-and-so. I'm like, come on, they know. But their kids are so much more behaved and smarter than what we were doing. Like, they're all like A
be,
students,
be,
but like not because I
because
wanted
of
out
all
of
the stuff
school.
we went through. Because
Yeah,
of all the
they're
stuff we
like
went through.
they don't drink as much. They don't like they're so, cleany weeny compared to what we
Well,
were. And
it's
I keep looking at them going, how did this happen? How are your kids even having babies and getting married? How has that happened? Because I still think we're 18 when I talk to them.
right.
It's
Well,
weird.
the best part about it is and the one part of being a youngerish mother was my kids couldn't get much over on me because it was like I wasn't too many years ago I was already doing that. So it was hard on them because I was very I was strict with them. I asked them I was the meanest mother in the world. But it's because it's like, yeah, I know better because I said the same thing and I know what I was doing, so guess what? You're not doing it. Kind of
And
thing.
times
So
have changed where things are a little bit more dangerous. I mean,
yes.
it's you know South Africa, everybody watched out for each other, and
Yep,
we're
exactly.
really, really lucky to have that, and lucky to have those friends
That
and those experiences. Really, truly, truly lucky to have that. And I love my friends dearly. You can't mess around with high school friends. They know who you are more than
right.
anybody, you know?
And it's funny because it's like, and nowadays I look and to me, and again, this is probably my age speaking, but I see like what I deem, I don't know what they call it nowadays, but like the little cliques, the little 4 or 5 people and 4 or 5 people. See, back then we had the jacks, we had the partiers, and
Yeah.
then we had the in between. But generally at any party or any place, any gathering we went to, there was some of all. And just because they were
Yeah.
at the party didn't mean it was a druggy party. It was just, everybody got along. There was none of this fighting. There was none of
And
this,
everybody had their
like you said,
role. The geeks knew
correct.
how to make better drinks because
Yep.
they took
Yep.
chemistry. That kind of, it's everybody had their thing, so it was
Yep.
always good. And the geeks always took care of the girls too. They did.
Right. And
They
and
took
it
care of
didn't
us.
matter. It didn't matter that you might not have been a geek, but it's like that thing. And like I said, the geek might have not liked the jock, but there was none of this arguing and fighting and constant,
Mm.
pulling out a gun or a knife or
Oh
something.
yeah,
And
see the gun
just
thing, we
because you
didn't have that.
disagreed.
We didn't
No,
have that.
I mean, never
Oh,
had that.
do you remember the
And
movie
people,
Nerds Revenge? Was it Nerds Revenge? The Revenge of the Nerds. Do you remember that
Revenge of the
movie?
Nerds.
Oh my
Yep.
gosh. I feel like we need to find that movie and rewatch because I think they had part one and part two.
But it was so different back then because again, everybody looked at, you didn't have to worry about, like you said earlier, a date rape thing. Nobody was going to put a drug in somebody's drink. And if my best friend had a little bit too much to drink and was ogling another guy, you were smart enough not to let them do something stupid. It
Exactly.
was more of a community thing. And then on Monday, you'd go back to school and everybody'd be laughing and joking and then, that was it. And then after you get out of school, it was kind of the same thing. It was just, if you were somewhere and you were overindulging, somebody would say, okay, hand me your keys. Or you've had enough and, it's time to go. And it wouldn't have been your best friend. It might have been the guy
Mhm.
would just notice that you were getting out of hand and say, you know what? Maybe you need to back off a little bit. So
Yeah.
everybody kind of looked out for everybody. I don't see that nowadays and it's sad.
Well, there were some times that negative stuff happened. I can't say it didn't, and it did.
Well, yes,
but I wasn't with my friends at the time. So there's that thing. The buddy system. We had this
yes.
retired FBI agent on our shows over the years, and
Oh,
he
cool.
retired, and Ernie Patino wrote mystery novels using his background as an FBI agent. And he came on a show to help us bust a con artist once, which was really cool. That was in the very beginning of podcasts. Fred Brito was the guy's name, and he had multiple names, and he said it was for our anniversary show. So this is good to bring up. One of our anniversary Champagne Sunday show. That's how it all started. It was a show called Champagne Sundays. We would drink champagne every Sunday because that's our family tradition, Nancy and I, and it doesn't have to be champagne, but we take time out to look at what we're happy about in the world, even if it's really bad stuff going on. There's always a ray of sunlight somewhere. So that's our goal. And when we were going to do a podcast and commit to do it, and we're like, all right, Nancy said, well, then we should just do it over our Champagne Sunday that we always do, because we always take time out, and that's a good tradition to remind people to be happy. So we would have our champagne, and then we would take the bottle and put it in the yard as part of our flower beds for borders. So the next person who got our house got all these champagne bottles that were all these flower beds of champagne bottles. It was cool.
That's the coolest thing, but it makes you stop and think what you're happy about, what you're thankful about. That's really a cool tradition.
Yeah, I think we're going to go back to that. There's some other things coming up for 2025. Obviously, you all know we're recording this, right? But that may be changing a little bit, just saying. But not Fred Brito, but anyway, he helped bust this guy who was on Dr. Phil, Dateline, and all. It's a crazy, crazy story. In fact, we don't even have the archive up anywhere because he still comes after, journalists were calling me all the time because then he attacks you on Twitter and calls you a pervert and all kinds of stuff.
Oh my God.
The guy was harassing us. And anyway, Ernie would come on shows all the time, especially spring break, to teach. And that's the thing, like the spring break that happens in this country, it's actually still, we have a documentary interviewed about what happens on spring break. This guy went undercover and filmed what happens to girls. It's horrible what happens.
Yeah.
Florida should shut that stuff down. I honestly believe it should be shut down. And to this day, it is the highest listened podcast, no matter what outlet I go to, highest listened show is what happens to teenage girls on spring break. And Ernie did an episode of that too. And he always talks about having the buddy system. And like Nancy and I travel the country, we drive at night, we go, most people won't do what we do. And we have that. Right. Like if you're going to get out of the car and go to the bathroom somewhere, we go together. We never leave the bathroom without each other. We always have that backup. And the buddy system is something that got us through all our shenanigans, was the buddy system like you were talking about. Always keep
stop and think about that. There's always these jokes about why women go to the bathroom together. Well, there you go. That's your answer.
That's true, because you have predators on the outside. Like I remember going to clubs, even in this country when we got here. And at the end of the night, man, it was like, if you're a single girl getting out of there, man, there'd be all those drunks at the end of the night that didn't hook up, waiting for you to get out of the club.
Yep.
Exactly. And you sit there and they're like, I'm drooling, I'm drunk. Like, I'm not interested in that. Come on now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but no, that's one of the biggest things. It's like, why do women go to the restroom in packs? Well, that's why we go to the restroom in packs, because we always want a buddy.
Or we're doing something in the bathroom you're not allowed. It might smell illegal. I don't know. I'm just saying. Oh, well, so you totally did not disappoint, Lisa. This is fantastic. I wish Nancy was here. She'll be listening.
Yeah.
She had her own shenanigans. She only got really naughty after. She always said, I only started drinking after I was born.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but she was she was raised in a very strict household. 6 kids.
Yeah.
Strict household, but her and her brother did sneak out a lot. And then once she left, then she became her own person. She always was. She always knew she was an artist, and she is an artist. Took her to Kenya, took her around the world with her art. So I wanted to ask you, as 18, here you're going through this as a mom and still going, screw you, I'm going to get my A aggregate here, and I will, succeed, go to college. Did you think that you were going to end up in the world of writing a travel guide book, being a travel writer, being a travel advisor? Did you think that that's where you would be today? And did you even think you'd end up in Mississippi, in coastal Mississippi,
Absolutely
enjoying
not.
sunshine? Wow.
Absolutely not. There was nothing at all on my radar at the age of 18 that would get me to where I am right now. And I mean, I remember in my head, when I graduated, my sole goal when I graduated high school and went to college. So I wanted, I went for my accounting degree and I wanted to, God help me, be a CPA. Okay. So I did get the accounting degree, but then when I realized that a CPA basically is locked in a room with nothing but numbers on a calculator for 90% of their day, I was like, why? Why in God's name would I do that? That's just not me. I mean, I'm introverted at some occasions, but not very many. So the accounting thing went right out the window. Well, then I thought, well, and I'm going to back to a politically incorrect term that we used back when I was 18 was an executive secretary. So I could picture myself being that was the other goal, an executive secretary. I wanted to be a secretary to a CEO of whatever. And, then, again,
but that was a big deal back then too, right?
It was. I mean, it was huge.
That was like, you wanted to be the 9 to 5 Carly Simon and Dolly Parton. Let the rivers run.
I wanted to be this, big executive secretary for the CEO and whatever. And then, you get to college and just like anything, life happens. I graduated, I got my degrees. I have like 2 or 3. So, and, then you find a job because again, while I'm going to college, I'm also raising a daughter. So, the realistic part of that is you need to work. And so at one point I was working, this is after I was 18, but at one point I was working like 3 part-time jobs, going to school, taking care of my daughter. So it was all that kind of stuff. And then, you graduate college and you go on. And again, one of my part-time jobs was in an office. I wasn't an executive secretary, but I was in an office, and that's actually where I ended up for many years. And that's how I got into working, in an office setting. But yeah, there was nothing at the age of 18 where I had any vision of doing anything close to what I'm doing now. So, I mean, good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, I enjoy what I do right now. I spent a lot of years, I raised my entire family, my daughter, and then subsequently other children. And, now I have been an empty nester for many years. And so the empty nest phase is when you shift again and decide, okay, now what do I want to do? So that's kind of when it all started to come together. But yeah, at the age of 18, nothing on the radar at all.
Well, it's wild because, you prove that it's never too late to change your mind and change course and change up your life. And I think, we do our Women Making History podcast and, celebrating women of the past, present, and the future. And so there's all kinds of things. It's not just women's history. And every time we do these shows, every single time it blows my mind. I don't care what the topic is. I always walk away going, man, you could be 80 years old and start a new career now. And every woman on the shows are always teaching me that it's never too late to do something new, ever. Do something new. And Nancy teaches me that all the time. I mean, she's a wildlife artist primarily, right? And she started that when she was a kid. And then ended up in Africa, with her art and working with Joy Adamson in the bush, Elsa the Lion, all that stuff, and teaching art to nuns because Joy Adamson got murdered and we're in the middle of Africa going, what the heck now, and she was raising me, and, so she changed up and she ended up working for a lawyer, a guy who was in the CIA. I mean, yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then, going into South England, she carried on with her art and everything. South Africa, ended up touring with her art to raise money for the Cancer Association, then ended up working for a guy with a magazine. And she's always been writing in magazines. She's always been a writer. and photographer, and did that in Kenya. Like she went to film or photograph Jomo Kenyatta's funeral, and that almost got her arrested. Oh yeah, she got in trouble.
Huh.
They took her film. She gets herself in trouble a lot because she goes for it, and if you don't get in trouble, if you're a writer, you're going to put yourself out on a limb. If you don't put yourself out on a limb, there is no fruit. Shirley MacLaine, I think, said that. Yeah, if you want the fruit, you have to go out on a limb, and she did.
And if you're going to get in trouble, you might as well do it by doing something that you love. And I say that in 18, but I guess if I look back and am true, I mean, I always love to read. That is one thing. I've always been a reader since when I could read. So I do love reading books. And there was a time I remember in high school, we had this English teacher, and I took as an elective a creative writing course, and I really liked that. So I guess the seeds were planted maybe like way back then, but I guess back then you were told, and I don't know if you guys experienced this or not, but like back in the 80s when I was in school, our guidance counselor, if you were a woman, you were pretty much told you could be a secretary, a nurse, a teacher. Those were the things that were, I won't say pushed on you, but it was, those were the traditional things that women did. I had I had one couple of friends that went on. One was an engineer. She was interested in engineering, and she still is to this day. Wow. And it's like, well, you go for it. It was just those girl. They didn't really push and a lot of it had to do with our guidance counselor. He was old school, and that was what he quote unquote guided you to do. The traditional female roles, if you will.
That's what happened to Nancy.
And so
she got a scholarship to go to college, and her dad was like, no. And then she tried to get in the waves and all of that because she wanted out, and because the house was it was an abusive house, and she wanted out, and she was like, this is my ticket. And then he wouldn't let her go to waves, and then then college, he was like, unless you become a teacher or a nurse, and she wanted to go to art college to be an artist, and no. So until she got out of the house, got married, right? And then she could go to school and go to college. But in the meantime,
precisely, and
you're never going to make money. And if you come from a place of no money, then the arts are frivolous.
Right. And unfortunately, like I said, I do remember probably of all my high school courses, other than the business courses, I did enjoy all the business courses, the typing and the shorthand and all that. But out of all the other courses in my high school career, I will say I loved creative writing. So I guess that seed was planted a long time ago. And eventually, and it has always been, I'll say I won't say unattainable because I've learned that nothing is unattainable. But to write the great American novel, you know what I mean? And I don't know that I'll ever get there, but I'm happy with what I do. I love to travel. I love to write. So you can combine the two. With the advisor, I love to travel. You can combine the two. And then, of course, just the writing of the guidebook was a nice little start. And that also combined the travel and the pride in your area kind of thing. So, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, the other thing is you love history, and history gives us so much fodder because the true stories are like, you can't beat them, right? Travel writing back in the day when I was working for Nancy and her magazine in South Africa, you couldn't write from a personal standpoint as a travel. That was a no-no. And until blogging started, then it became personal, which gives people like, oh, I was really there. But there's this creative fiction kind of thing. And we talked, like I mentioned Anthony Bourdain earlier, he had this way of inflecting his life and who he was into telling the story of the people and being there. He was an amazing author. I don't know if you've read any of his books.
Yes. And that's the whole thing. That's what makes the standout people is that you can you can tell it's basically storytelling. And when you're storytelling, but you're interweaving true things that you've experienced. And if you can weave all that together, you're going to knock it out of the park.
Yeah, just it's creative, add that feel, that atmosphere to the place.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you go to a blues club, right, or something, and there's still like just sawdust and dirt on the floor. Like, come on, why you don't want a sparkling clean blues club? That's just not
Right.
right.
Oh, speaking of blue, and I know
Oh
you're a
yeah.
blues fan too.
Hmm.
I'm so cool. I bought tickets. I'm sure you've heard of Shamika Copeland.
Oh yeah, yeah. We saw her in Greeley, Colorado at their blues festival right before the
I'm
COVID hit.
I'm going to see her. We're going to see
Oh,
her. She's coming to Ground Zero Blues Club here in Biloxi. And I was like, I saw the tickets. I'm like, I'm going.
going
And it
now.
was,
And
I can't, I'm so excited. I can't wait.
that's that is fantastic. That's a good start to 2025, right? Is to be able to
Yeah.
go get some blues going. That is cool. That's
Yep.
where you live. I swear Nancy and I, and you, the three of us should go on a blues trip around Mississippi. We really should. We should just do part of the blues trail and do like, I don't know, we'll do something. We'll do like a
Yeah.
we'll do a
I mean,
podcast.
it's not, I bought the tickets already and I don't think she's coming. I want to say it's like in April, but the tickets, I mean, cause Ground Zero, when they do a show like that, it's a cool club, but it's not like huge. So
Mm,
if you don't get tickets like
now.
almost after they post, then
Yeah.
you're going to be on the GA where you're standing and stuff. I bought a table right in front of the stage. I was like, I'm
Oh
going. I don't care.
man.
Cause she had been here maybe about a year or so ago and I couldn't do it. By the time I saw the tickets, because they sell tables for two and tables for four, and then you can get like at the bar and then you get GA. And by the time I saw that she was going to be here, I don't know what I was doing. But anyway, all the good tickets are going to go. If I'm going to go watch a blues show, I want to be able to
You
sit and
want
enjoy it. I don't want to be standing at a bar. So I was
no,
like
no.
so excited. I was so excited that I actually got really good tickets and like I said, I'm really looking forward to that because I love listening to her.
She's got a power voice, like a just
Yes.
it's and gentle too, kind of like Ruthie Foster has that kind of vibe too. It's just like, yeah, I can belt it out, but I can bring you on home in this subtle way.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
they're like they're seduction artists in a way, how they do it. And the blues is just, yeah, you're in such a good spot. I mean, she
Yeah.
might be pairing that up with New Orleans Jazz Fest comes up in April, I think.
Oh, it
She
is.
might be pairing it up.
Jazz.
Hmm.
I would love Jazz Fest. I mean, I have yet to be to a Jazz Fest, even all the years I've been down here. I want to get there, but I've heard that it's so overwhelming with the number
Yeah.
of people that go there.
I don't,
I've heard it's
I, I
craziness.
like what you're doing with Shamika. That's how I am. I'm like, put me
Yeah.
on like when we went to Greeley Blues Fest, the Blues Jam is massive and they have this, well, it's massive, but it's a small, it's northeast, Colorado, so very rural, a lot of farms and
Hmm.
so much history there. Oh my God. And a lot of people from New York State, by the way, went there to create a utopian society under the name Greeley from Horace Greeley, the editor of the New York Times.
Yep.
And anyway, so anyway, they went from here's the 10, like the 10 commandments of the town, basically. And one of them was to abstain from liquor. Well, they turned around and became the very first Go Cup district in Colorado, which means downtown you can go from brewery to brewery with your same cup. So you tell me how
Uh-huh.
that worked. Yeah, temperance didn't work out well for Colorado, but the blues festival. So the way their fairground is and how they set it up, they have two stages. So one on each side. And
Oh,
so
wow.
an artist will play and then you turn around and watch the next show and you just turn your chair around. And we were
Oh,
in the
that's
VIP
cool.
and, I, was taking photos and filmed and, saw Larkin and Poe. I love Larkin and Poe. And saw, Memphis Slim.
Oh,
Oh my
wow.
God, Mississippi Watermelon Man or something. Gosh, we saw Shamika was the headliner, and
Hmm.
but Larkin and Poe just these two girls started in their room with the guitars, and doing YouTube videos as sisters. And they also had a band with other sisters, but it turned out the two of them. And now they're Grammy nominated, tour the world, and still very hometown girls, Their
Wow.
great grandfather is Edgar Allan Poe, which is pretty trippy.
Really?
Yeah, and Elaine A. Powers, who's been on our show, she's a writer, conservation writer and conservationist and biologist, and writes children's books. She comes on one of our genealogy shows, and oh yeah, I'm related to Edgar Allan Poe. I'm like, dude, do you know
that is cool?
It's crazy cool, man. It's like, really? Like, I would like that ancestry.
Imagine living in that head. Oh my God, he was brilliant. But,
yeah.
I mean, when you stop and think of the stories that he wrote and the poems, and I mean, The Raven. I love reading The Raven, but it gives me chills every time I read it. But I love it.
But this is the thing. So here's Elaine A. Powers, a conservation biologist, ends up a writer for kids, lyricist and singer. And then we have Larkin and Poe. Like, come on, this stuff flows down.
That's awesome.
Isn't it? History's cool. All right.
Can you imagine saying...
Go ahead.
Can you imagine being able to say, yeah, my great-great-grandfather was Edgar Allan Poe? I mean, it's just awesome.
It's like, dude. And everything says, oh, supposedly, and yet they are, but they don't tout it. You know what I mean? It's like Lucas Nelson, he kind of touts his dad, but he doesn't swing on his dad's coattails. He worked for what he does as a guitarist. I don't know if you've seen him perform. Lucas Nelson, Willie Nelson's son, and The Promise of the Real, they on hiatus as a band right now, but man, some good guitar work there. He was on our show way back when and talked about how his dad got tied to the bed with forks by his ex-wife and started telling all these stories. And then later, this biography, and I can send you that link to the podcast. It was crazy. He was on tour with Shooter Jennings. And they were
I was going to say that's now, because I mean, I like all music. I will say that the old country is not, it's not in my top two.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you're talking legends like that, that's entirely different. And now you're talking the second generation. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Allman Brothers, their kids are playing together. Shooter Jennings is playing. I mean, it's pretty cool to see. I mean, even like Derek Trucks, right? You talk about blues, like that guy can play. What I didn't know, and I just found out that he worked on the album with J.J. Cale and Eric Clapton called Escondido. And that's when we had our magazine, at that time and lived outside Escondido. And we would drive around listening to the album, and J.J. Cale lived out in Fallbrook and Escondido area. And, God, he created the Tulsa sound, man. J.J. Cale to me is like a hero. In music, but yeah, what was 18? What was going on for you music wise? Because mine was weird. There was a lot of pop in mine.
Yes, there is, but you know what? And again, I listen even nowadays. I still go back and listen to on my Sirius is usually 80s at 8 and 70s at 7. I gotta say, I love and the Blues Channel. Those are pretty much my 3 Sirius channels that I listen to. But I mean. I was on, and again, I was a big fan of John Cougar. This is before he added the Mellencamp, which is fine. But when he was John Cougar, he was just like the coolest little rebel there was. And of course there's Journey, all of those. And I went through and I just to try and, I know them, but I didn't know where they were on the Billboard charts. But one of the number one songs in 1982, which was when I was 18, was Physical by Olivia Newton-John.
Oh my God.
Remember that? Physical, when and everybody like played it to death.
Did Jane Fonda ever do anything to that? Like when she was doing her exercise thing?
I think she had ended up doing, yes. And then here's another one, and this is going to be a song worm that's going to get in your head, but 8675309.
Oh my gosh, Jenny. Rick Springfield.
Yep.
Yeah.
So by Tommy Two-Tone, remember that? I mean, I know I'm older than you, but I know you've heard the song, you've heard the 8675309.
Yep.
So now that's going to play in your head for the next 4 hours.
Yeah. And you know what? Because you hear it on the road all the time.
Yes.
And you just go, Jenny.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Put it on the
and
back
you know how
door
many
somewhere.
You know how many prank calls that number got in all those years? It's still, it's, how many people called that number. Can you imagine being the person that actually had that number?
Well, you know what's interesting too about that era is how many one-hit wonders came out.
Oh, yeah,
Compared to
absolutely.
anywhere else. Like if you think of the 80s, like 99 Red Balloons and Walking on
Uh-huh.
Sunshine and just
Yep.
like, the Pina Colada song and all of that. All of
Oh,
those
yeah.
one-hit wonders, and like I was talking to Nancy, I was like, oh yeah, Annie Lennox was massive at
Oh, I
that time
loved
frame for that.
Eurythmics. Eurythmics and Annie, Eurythmics is still, her voice is phenomenal.
She's a blues
I,
queen, just didn't go that way. You know what I mean?
I
And she
love
can.
her voice. I love her voice. There's just some, and of course, then it was also, I mean, the 70s was more Fleetwood Mac, but I was like a
Oh
number one
yeah.
Stevie Nicks fan. Stevie Nicks was like, and to this day, if you see, I mean, we're talking all these years later, her voice is just phenomenal.
She doesn't
It's
stop
a,
either. She's still
no,
going.
no. She's still touring. She's going to be the next Mick Jagger and Keith Richards kind of thing.
Well,
But like
Belladonna,
then
her
there's
album in
others.
the 80s, the Belladonna when she went solo,
Oh,
I
that
think is
was
one of the
oh my God.
best albums. That should be a classic album. Like,
I'll never forget. I remember now here's a memory for you going back. I don't even know that they do this, but in my high school they had driver ed classes. So in the summertime, we would take driver ed, and it was usually there was four people in your class, quote unquote. And I can remember being in driver ed. It was me and my best friend, and then two other guys. Well, one of the guys I really had a crush on, and it was that summer of young summer when you were in driver ed and you had a
hmm
crush on the guy, whatever, whatever. So anyway, we finally did end up dating, and that was when I was in my big Stevie Nicks thing. And he bought me the Belladonna LP, the actual album. And I know a lot of people are going to be, what is an
Ooh.
LP? But he bought me that. That was my birthday present. He bought me the Belladonna, album. And I was just like in heaven because I can't tell you, I think I wore that album out.
Yeah,
Every
even how it
song on,
begins. Yeah,
every,
the beginning with the
every,
piano. Dun 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 dun
every
dun dun.
every song on that album is just phenomenal. It was
hmm
just, I mean, I loved that album, the Belladonna.
And I mean, she had to like really go like for her to do that. And Fleetwood Mac started this other thing like Tango in the Night and all
Yep,
that at that time. And she
yep.
was like, I could have done this backup. They're like, well, you're doing your solo stuff. And look
Yeah,
at the drama of Fleetwood Mac. I mean, she said like I agree with her. There is no Fleetwood Mac without Christine McVie in that era
I
of it.
agree.
But I'm a huge original Fleetwood Mac fan more than all of
Oh,
that.
okay. Back with, what's
John
it, Joe
Mayall and
Walsh?
Peter Green. Yeah, and Peter Green. Peter Green.
Yep.
It was John McVie, Mick Fleetwood, John Mayall, Peter Green, Danny Kerwane. I mean, they had all these different guitarists, and
Yeah, they
the
did.
guitarists went nuts. All three of them went frigging like dingbat somewhere. And
Yeah.
Peter Green ended up doing some drugs out in Germany at this estate, was invited there, was pumped like this insane hash and LSD thing, went on this crazy trip in this mansion with these people and never frigging got past it and ended up
Yeah.
homeless at one point. And people saved him and got him back on, and he started playing and he's passed since, but when you listen to things like Albatross and Black Magic Woman, which was originally,
Oh, yeah.
that from
Yeah.
there, not Santana, no knock Santana. Santana's badass too, but like
Oh, I love
that,
Santana.
yeah, we interviewed his wife. Cindy was on our show, Cindy Blackman.
Oh my
She's an
God. The
insane
funny
drummer.
part about it is,
She drummed for Lenny Kravitz and stuff too, man.
well, the funny part about it is, so last night, and this is, last night I'm watching, Monday Night Football. And I guess, when I've
She
watched
was
it in
a,
the
she was
past, I
mid,
guess
she
I've
was
missed,
she was the
she's the,
halftime, wasn't she?
she, no, 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 she's the drummer to open it. I guess whenever I've watched, Monday Night Football in the past, I must have come in after the opening. So it's Snoop Dogg, it's Chris
Mm,
Stapleton, and she's on the drums. And I kept
no
saying,
way.
who is, And I kept saying, who is this woman? So I literally last night I'm Googling and it comes up, Cindy and her middle name and then Santana. And I'm going, wait, Santana. So of course I Google more. She's his wife. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah. She was on the cover of one of our magazines about 10 years ago. 8 years ago.
She's the drummer of the opening, Monday Night Football theme now.
Yeah. So I did not know that. So Chris Stapleton and Snoop Dogg, all three of them on the same stage?
All three of them. There's
No.
all three of them because because I'm used to, and again, back when Hank Jr. used to open it up with All Your Rowdy Friends, that was always a biggie. Well, then of course, he went off and did his own, he doesn't do Monday Night Football anymore. So that's probably why I've always come in afterward because I was never big on, because they've had various other openings of Monday Night Football. And last night I just had it on. It was, we watched the pregame show and then this come on and I'm going, who are these people? And then I'm looking, I was like, wait, that's Snoop Dogg. And I was like,
Snoop Dogg.
you want to talk,
I love Snoop.
You want to talk about somebody that has reinvented themselves 85 times, Snoop Dogg.
That's why I think him and Martha Stewart get along so well. And
probably.
Probably,
but so it was him, so I was able to identify he and Chris Stapleton, and I'm like, who is this drummer? Because she's fabulous, and I'm going, so after the intro or whatever, I Googled it, and I'm like, Santana, wait, and I'm thinking sister or something, and it turns out it's his wife. I was like, holy crap, I didn't realize that.
She drummed for Lenny Kravitz, did some stuff with
awesome.
Miles Davis.
I didn't know that.
She is insane. You go watch her play with Santana.
I'm going to have to.
They did something with the Isley Brothers when we were talking to her. They were doing an album together with them.
That's awesome. But Santana is just, you want to talk smooth guitar, man. There's nobody better than him.
Remember that album that he did with all the different artists? And it's amazing to think when he went from Woodstock. And now we interviewed the band Novo Combo. And the drummer, drummer from Nova Combo was his percussionist at Woodstock. Wow. I know it's kind of crazy. We're just interviewing all of Santana's drummers, right? Oh, his trumpet player. Yeah, we've done a lot of work with musicians that work with him, and I've forgotten the name, so it's just totally Walden. It's out of my head, but anyway. We've done a lot with Santana players for some reason. It all happens. But Michael Walden something does a lot of producing and everything and works with him. But she's really cool. Like as a individual, does a lot of very spiritual and teaches meditation and
I got to dig more into her because that little bit of Monday Night intro was impressive.
I would like to see her and Sheila Easton play together. Get together and just have like a drum off, ooh, yeah.
But and then when I find out that she's, because like I said, Santana, you want to talk smooth, man. And speaking of I think I won't say my favorite because I like a lot of Santana songs, but I love the collaboration with Rob Thomas for the song Smooth.
Yeah.
Smooth. I love that.
Well, his dad, Rob Thomas, right, is from the Guess Who.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. And I love the Guess Who because they did, I think about American Woman and all that, but they were the original ones. And then when it went into New Mother Nature Taking Over, I think that's one of the best songs ever written. No sugar tonight in my coffee.
Yep,
no
there
sugar
you go.
tonight in my tea.
No, I don't think I knew that his dad was in that. That's cool.
Yeah. It's like crazy. I geek out on this stuff terribly. So
hey, whatever.
I was going to say it's everything. Now, road tripping, we're going to have to do a road trip music show at some point. I know we've done a few, but I think you're going to have to be on that. But everyone, we're going to add Lisa's songs to the playlist. I know she's sending me a list. As you can tell, Lisa and I should never start talking about music because we'll never stop. Yeah, we could just do Lisa and the Cult Jam. That's it. We'll just do that, right?
There you go.
We could be the Big Blend Jam. I don't want any cults in my life. Thank you. Other than I will watch them and go, what are you doing?
Really.
But thank you so much for being part of our 18th anniversary. It's been a blast having a chat with you and just being silly and talking about all the silly stuff we did as 18-year-olds. I feel younger. Do you? Don't you feel younger?
It feels, some days it feels like it was yesterday, and other days it look around and go, damn, that was a long time ago. It
right
depends
now it
on
feels
the
like
mood, I
right
guess.
here. I feel good right now. I'm sticking with this energy for the rest of my day. I'm going to listen to some music from the 80s, and I'm going to feel 18 all day long. And then Nancy will go, no, put some Santana so I can have mine on. I'll go, all right. Because he's been through all of it.
Okay.
So that's good. That's good. Well, everyone, keep up with Lisa at writerlisa.com. And if you're going to go to Mississippi, you got to go to the coast and you got to get her book, 100 Things to Do in Coastal Mississippi Before You Die. And again, writerlisa.com. Thank you so much, Lisa. It's been a blast.
Thank you. It really has been fun.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio. Keep up with our shows at bigblendradio.com.